Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here. It is I, CJ. We are back with another video of Alternate Future. We are on episode 5. Like I said before, the series is almost like concluding. We only have like 10 more episodes left. So, yeah. There will also be another video after this where I just am going to be talking about some things about the summer and possibly my schedule. So, yeah, but besides that, I would really appreciate it if you like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. I'm not saying you have to be forced, but I'm just saying because that would really help me out as my goal is 50 subscribers. But yeah, but let us start off starting in Europe and Africa. So basically, the American Cold War against the US and Brazil is taking place right now. But Brazil will cause a whole bunch of uprisings in the Belgium Congo and Angola and um, Zimbabwe. And a whole bunch of countries such as Portugal and Belgium are going to be like, yo, what the? And these groups will appear all across these nations. And it's basically just because Brazil wants to gain a foothold in Africa. So the turmoil will begin again. The turmoil will begin with the U.S. and Brazil acting up in Africa. So the rebel groups are just going to be the same color because I don't want to spend time using two different colors. But really, basically, it makes sense for the Belgian Congo to revolt, as many things have happened there. If you know about your history. But Angola and Zimbabwe, it doesn't make sense. But Brazil, remember, they're trying to become a great power and want to gain control in Central/Southern Africa. So the Brazilians will send lots of aid to the rebellions, and the Portuguese they're not that strong, so you have to remember that. And the Belgians, they kind of just got out of like a war with Germany, and they got bulldozed over, so can't do anything. But there's already going to be troops stationed here. And Brazil will actually send troops themselves, as they will actually join this conflict. I mean, wrong color. Join this conflict on the side of the rebels. And many countries are going to be like, yo, Brazil, why are you doing this? Especially the US, as the US gets suspicious and plans their own thing after this event. Um, as the Brazilians only want the African colonies and not the mainland, because if they go into Portugal, that they're cooked. If they go into Belgium, they're cooked. So better not do that. But Brazilian forces finally arrive in northern Angola and I guess southern Belgian Congo, as these forces begin to arrive, and they basically have the major city of the Belgian Congo, or modern day Belgian Congo, DRC capital. I cannot speak today. I'm sorry. But they will actually capture it and thus surrendering. And they do the same thing with Angola, thus surrendering. Um, Zimbabwe, I think we already know what happens. So here's a peace treaty. Here's a peace treaty. Looks like nothing changed. I know. Angola, or not Angola, the DRC, and Zimbabwe all actually become independent, as they were already independent countries such as Libya, Ethiopia, and that's it. Oh, and Liberia. Sorry, Liberia. But now there's even more. So this kind of spreads a little bit of a chance for like the French colonies and or British colonies to be free. But let's not talk about that now. So, United States, remember how I said that they were going to do something after the war? They sure do. The U.S. will cause multiple rebellions all across the DRC, Angola, and Zimbabwe. But let's talk about that another time. Let's move on to Turkey. So, wrong color. They will want to expand as they are a slash, a fascist sort of imperialist country who wants to bring back the glory days, as many Turks say, and want to expand, obviously. But remember, Iran wants to expand. And Caucasia, kind of like a buffer state between them, even though they share a border, but, you know, if one takes, the other's going to aid Caucasia, and same thing. But Turkey's not going to be focused on Caucasia. It's going to be focused on Bulgaria and Greece, as these two both hold important places in the Mediterranean Sea. So, Turkey will begin to move into Greece beforehand, and Bulgaria isn't going to be as strong, obviously. Greece was not expecting this, as Crete goes down quickly, and the Turks rush in and take Sofia. As they take Sofia, they head down and they take Telensky, and they spearhead upwards to the Bulgarian this Bulgarian major city, and basically capturing all of Bulgaria's coastline to the Black Sea. And the Turks just began to move into Turkey, and yeah, they just surrender. But while moving into Greece, Iran declares war on Caucasia. And like I just said, Caucasia is like a buffer state, just like Mongolia is in real life, but we're just not going to talk about that. But Iran will begin to immediately move into Caucasia as they were prepared. And Turkey will basically send some troops back, almost allowing Greece to take back Zelensky, but not yet. Really not ever. But the Iranians or Persians will use their, I forgot what Gulf this is, or sea. But they use their Central Asian Union ports all along the sea to land into Caucasia, and Turkey is like sending rapid aid into Caucasia, but the aid is not strong enough as Persia captures the Caucasian capital. But Turkey will sadly move into Caucasia and try to rescue any, basically just try to get as much land as possible before Iran takes it all. And this almost rises like another Cold War in the world, just like the American one. And two Cold Wars in a single in the same decade, or not same decade and century. It's kind of insane. But Turkey now sending their troops back on the Greek front. They will continue their push down into Greece and, well, just take Athens and end the war. But the Greeks will be very pissed off about this, and it's not gonna go. And there might be a Cold War, maybe new alliance, who knows? But here's the peace treaty. The peace treaty ends up like this: as a Greek puppet, Bulgarian puppet, and the Caucasian, not Caucasian, or yeah, the Caucasian Union, not really being a union anymore, as there is Armenia and basically a Georgia. So there's Azerbaijan, you could say, but mostly Armenian and Georgian. So there's a new Georgian country and Armenian country, both now on opposite sides. Used to be the same side, but now two different sides, as not a Cold War starts, but a regional dominance conflict has begun between Turkey and Iran, trying to gain dominance in this region or the Middle East, and trying to gain dominance of each other to win this battle, and which Iran is currently winning as they have the most controlled dominance air regions, while Turkey is here. But you know, they won't go to war because they're basically even matched. Yeah, they're like even matched. Yeah, but let's head back down here. What in the heavenly world? So continuing with the um, civil wars of these nations, the United States is one of the strongest countries in the world. So they will send massive resources and will allow for the Congo um, to kind of just fall. And Angola, they will actually hold on. But at the same time, the Brazilians exist, and they will push a lot of these rebels out. And there's kind of just going to be a stalemate in this region, because the United States does not want a full-fledged conflict. This is kind of like a proxy war, you know, just like the Korean War, which led to a full-fledged war. But millions dying. It's fun. That's not supposed to be a joke. That is supposed to be sarcasm. But American troops, with the help of rebellion troops, will be able to fully make the Congo surrender over American control. But in the south, Angola, the U.S. troops will be able to push in, but they're not going to be able to push really deep. But over here, yeah, the U.S. isn't really focused in Zimbabwe, as it takes a lot longer to go from here to here than to all the way here. And Brazil has a closer range. Plus, they have Angola, so they can easily just go here. Um, and 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 I know the British are here. Why aren't they intervening? They're not intervening because they're not trying to cause a revolution in their people. So that makes sense to me. But basically, Zimbabwe collapses to Brazilian control. But at the same time, um, many U.S. troops here are getting pushed, and many of them are still getting pushed. As basically, these two sides can't really send any more troops unless a full-fledged war breaks out, and neither of them want that. So they both agree on cutting Angola in half. So here's the peace treaty. Basically, like, the DRC doesn't change except them getting a new pro-US president or leader, and Zimbabwe has a pro Brazilian leader. But Angola, they get split, and this kind of raises tons and tons of tension between the U.S. and Brazil, almost going to war due to this, and they didn't. So hopefully next episode this Cold War could end. I don't know. I don't know. But in all seriousness, this episode wasn't that long. I didn't really want it to be long, and I didn't expect a lot to happen. So just thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and peace. See you in the next video. Sir, the meeting with Britain, Russia, and Japan is tomorrow, sir. All right, get the plane ready for London. All right, sir.